Hey, g'day, it's Roy from Sulphur City Foundry. Today I'm joined by Mark from the local Rotary Yubnutters. Exciting times. It's taken a few months, but we now have the Saberforge order landed in the office yesterday. So Mark's popped round to help me just pick through it, inspect all the sabres before we ship them out, check for any marks and stuff. Happy to say that Saberforge are absolutely spot on. No issues at all with any of the hilts. They're all ready for install, all ready to go. So what we've done, we've actually picked out some of our faves, just a couple of highlights that people have been asking for, and maybe a little that have kind of surprised us. We think are really awesome sabres that are better in the hand than maybe they are in the photo. So we just wanted to give you a bit of an overview of what we've been playing around with for the last hour or so. So Mark's got a few faves lined up in front of him. He's already stolen one for his own personal sabre. So he's, yeah. What do you like there, Mark?
So yeah, my favourite sabre, this has got my name all over it. It's the Heretic, and for a budget sabre, budget hilt.
Apprentice line, yeah.
It's really good. I like a choke near the top of the sabre. I love the copper stingray wrap. It's got a great balance, and I think it looks amazing. And so I'm really happy with this one. I think, yeah, this is just a really solid sabre. And quite often you can't guess how good they are from the pictures. So
no.
So yeah, I'm really looking forward to a Profi install in this, and yeah, I'm quite happy with that.
It's always been one of my personal favourites, and Russell from New Plymouth, if you're watching, I had one on my shelf that I was going to grab for one of my new sabres in 2020, and because we were a bit low, decided, no, I'll put it up for sale instead, and so you were the proud owner of that one. I have been for a few months, so I might have to fix that this time round and see if we can add one of those to my little personal collection as well. One that's come in that we've been playing around with, first time I've seen it across the desk, and it's going to be an interesting installation, is the Saberforge Prodigal Son. So if you are a Return of the Jedi fan, you'll be familiar with this sabre. Really nice put together sabre actually. So I've got the little control box, ruggedized a little bit obviously for dueling, but it is very pretty. I can see a lot of people using these just for a display piece.
Or cosplay piece.
Or cosplay, indeed.
Or even a shelf warmer. It's a great looking sabre.
Yeah, yeah, really do like this one. I'm a big fan of thin necks, as you probably know, so this one is one of my faves. I won't be picking one of these up this time round, because I managed to score myself a 7 chambers Ultimate Hero version. So I've only got space on my shelf for one of these, episode 6 Luke Sabre. So these are up for grabs. Somebody's already grabbed one of those. There's one available for purchase on the website as well, if Mark doesn't grab it first.
No, I mean, I've got a few sabres with my name on, so there will be some decisions to be made. But the other one that caught my eye is the Xiphos. Now, we've got a couple of these with different wrap options. This, again, I'm very drawn to sabres that are either light or have a good balance or look like they'll be good dueling sabres, as well as just a good solid design as well. And I really like this. So this is the Xiphos, and it kind of looks heavy, but it's not. It's yeah, again, very light. I think whether you like your flow or your dueling, I think this would be a great sabre.
Now, I actually own 2 of the original Xiphoses that Saberforge put out a few years ago. I was lucky enough to pick them up second-hand. And I've got to say, when installed with electronics, the weight distribution on these are absolutely superb, with a really good grip point just underneath the pommel. And I don't know what it is about the Xiphoses, but a lot of the sound that comes from a sabre, like the growl of a sabre, actually comes from how good the sabre hilt is as a resonance chamber. And the Xiphoses are absolutely superb at the resonance chamber, that the length must just be absolutely spot on to get a really beautiful bass rumble on these. So I've been using one of those for about 3 years. I've picked up one of the originals. I've got a second on my shelf that's going to have a NeoPixel installed as well. And the great thing about these I found is there's a small little super on the top, which gives some kind of protection for accidental blade strikes as well. So if somebody's blade slides down yours, it will hit the super and kind of bounce off. So that's really good for protecting your fingers. I absolutely love the Xiphos. So Andre in New Zealand's got one of these. He can attest to how good these hilts are. So that's why we picked a few of those in. So hopefully offer a few new owners as well. We've got a really cool weathered one actually with a red reptile grip, which I haven't put on the website yet, but will be on there by the time you're watching this video. Okay,
Jade Fire.
Jade Fire. I think we both like this one.
Yeah, it's a really interesting reballs. It's probably one of the most detailed short sabers we've got in this shipment.
A lot of poker bits. So for dueling, you're gonna have to wear gloves for a comfortable fit. But that said, really nice narrow choke point on the saber. Once the weight of the electronics is in there as well with a decent blade, that's going to be a really nice one. So Jade Fire, that is, whose saber would that be?
I'm not sure, but I think it's Dark Side, and I think it might be Old Republic. But I can be corrected on that. But
I'm terrible on lore, so if you know whose saber this is, stick it in the comments below. And really like this. I like the old Saberforge Princess model as well, which is quite similar to that. And I've got a used one of those on its way to me, hopefully within the next month or two.
Cool.
Right, the one that everyone's been asking about.
So so this saber I think is probably going to have the most demand. You've got 3 of them, haven't you, Roy? So I saw the Mark 1 of this and it looked good, but the Mark 2 is much better. You won't be able to see it, but there's detailing, like casting details, inset in between the emitter shrouds here, greebles, a very low profile control box. This handle is actually metal. It looks like it's vinyl with that kind of ruggedized, ripped away section that's featured in the game. Yeah, it looks like it's vinyl, but it's actually metal. Pommel is interesting, and it's also got inset detail through there with sound holes around the side, as well as on the base. It's for a long saber, it's surprisingly light. Great choke point for dueling, just down there. I mean, you can see it's a great two-handed saber. I really like it. I'm not going to buy one because I've already put my name on so many others, and I think there's a waiting list of people that would probably like these. So yeah, I really like it.
Yeah, I myself too. Like I said, I tend to go for sabers more for dueling rather than looks. I'm not really although I've got some on display. I'm more a practical saber person, but this one does appeal. I can really appreciate the amount of work that's gone into this. That fine machining on the pommel is absolutely superb, actually. Really nice saber. It'll be interesting installing that one. See what the sound's like on that as well, because it looks like it's got quite an interesting lot of venting on there for the resonance, for the air to move backwards and forwards. So it'll be interesting to see. Okay, final one. This was quite interesting. I chucked one of these in the order, mainly because we were short. There were no Commandos available at the time. Commandos is also one of my fave sabers. So I thought, well, let's try the Katana Mark III, which has a very aggressive, technically almost imperial.
Very much an imperial of the original trilogy kind of vibe to it, an Art Deco style. The Commando is very similar in design, isn't it?
Yeah.
And but this has got the Suba, so it makes it like very much a Saber Legion style saber.
Yeah. Now I really like this one. A few things we noticed about this. First off, the hilt's glued, so I mean it is made with modular parts. That's not a biggie. These can be broken with a little bit of heat and cold, but I reckon this would make an absolutely awesome staff. or a Saber. If you don't like the pommel, Suba, you can probably pop that off and just use this as a longer commando-ish design Saber. But one thing I noted was it's quite symmetrical with the buttons in the middle. So I reckon that could quite easily be converted with an additional emitter to a really good staff. Going to be looking into that a little bit more. Like I said, we've only just popped these open to inspect them for any shipping issues. But yeah, I reckon you can make a really nice staff out of one of these. The two buttons there, you could either use for individual illumination on both on the hilts if you're just running as a stunt or something, or obviously your normal single switch activation. Press the button. You can have those both come on at the same time, or obviously with the decent boards like the Profis, you could have a staged ignition on those. So you have the kind of Darth Maul effect where you press the button, one blade ignites, there's a bit of a delay and the second one will kick in. So plenty of options with that one. And you should be able to, yeah, we should be able to make changes on the configuration to actually switch between different ignition startups and stuff like that. I'll have to look into it, but I'm pretty sure it can be done. Okay, so there are just 6 of the 16 designs that came in that we think are really cool. Forsaken's came in, they've sold already. They're listed somewhere, but go and have a look at the website under the Saberforge section and you'll see all of the hilts that are available for purchase, either empty as a stunt, which is light, no sound, nice cheap entry level option, or a full sound installation. We've only got Profi 2.2s at the moment. I say only, best board on the market, absolutely phenomenal in terms of sound, configuration, and just what you can do with them.
Responsiveness, just such a good saber.
Smooth swing is absolutely sublime. We do have one Verso left actually, tell a lie. We also have the Golden Harvest V3s that I'm evaluating this week as a additional install option. People have been raving about these boards. They're just spinning up their supply capacity, so expect to see more of them, you know, a smoother supply in the future. And I'm going to be testing a Tri-Cree RGB and a NeoPixel install. Now, quick word on NeoPixels. We've been a bit not slow on the uptake. We had planned originally to start bringing in NeoPixels in January this year, and we all know how 2020 has gone so far. So there's been a bit of a delay on that. We're just starting to spin up for NeoPixel now. So the testing and original provisional testing I was going to do back in January, I'm going to start doing that now. There's no point doing it back in January when you couldn't buy blades, you couldn't buy boards, you couldn't buy anything else to go with it. So we're gearing up for NeoPixel provisional testing this month. So pretty exciting stuff. So yeah, there's 6 hilts that came in. There is one more actually. It's really interesting hilt.
And that's this work.
Yeah. So Alistair V, this is on its way to you.
It's a hefty beast.
Certainly an interesting design. It's a Marmite hilt. If you like the sort of period style.
Well, it's a saber in all. It's definitely a saber.
Yeah.
Or a rapier style. Well, it is called a rapier, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And no one's going to be hitting your fingers anytime soon on that one.
No.
It's quite interesting. A lot of people really like it on the Saberforge site.
And there's been a response on the New Zealand site as well, hasn't there?
Yeah, Alistair, if you don't want this, mate, I've got 2 people lined up for one of these already. I like my hilts a little bit more contemporary. Not one of my faves, but there's certainly a lot of people out there that actually love this design. And it's interesting in the hand.
It's a lot of work gone into it. It's incredibly ornate. Yeah, but like I say, it is. There is a weight in that. But yeah.
Yeah. So if you're coming in from a HEMA background and you're used to wielding something like this and you want to rock something a bit Star Warsy, it will be perfect for you. And yeah, you'll be used to the weight as well. This is not a subtle hilt. you've got to have some good arm muscles to swing one of these around. But yeah, it's quite interesting actually. And it's good to see that Saberforge are not sticking with the norm and doing a bit of variation on their designs. We've seen kind of adventurous style.
The Cyber Assassin.
That's the one.
Yep.
Come out recently. Again, appreciate the work's gone into it. Not one of my personal favourites, but it's nice to see they're starting to put a bit of variation into their designs. So hopefully we'll see, once China starts warming up again, we should start to see a few new bits and bobs coming out from Saberforge. So just to recap, all of these come in empty to us, so there's no massive installed queue that sometimes the factories experience. And if you know, Saberforge, I think, have a 12 to 15 week wait at the moment. We can normally turn around our installs within a week, maybe 2, depending on how busy we are. That's if we've got all the parts in stock. And glad to say parts supply is actually speeding up a little bit now. So we, of course, if you're in New Zealand or just over the ditch in Australia, we should get these in your hands pretty quickly. With the profit boards that you can't get from the factory, also all of our stunting stores have chassis. We have momentary to latching converter options, and even our standard stunt install, we kind of call it a premium stunt, but that is a in-hook charger with a chassis, decent Panasonic 3500 milliamp hour battery, option of single Cree if you want the long run time, and if you're really into your bright blades, we can chuck a tri-Cree in there for you if you don't mind the shorter run time. But yeah, we're going to be busy. I think a lot of people have been waiting on these. So that's just an overview of some of the notable ones that are in the order. Any questions, pop them below. Just drop us a PM at Sulphur City Foundry, and we'll chat to you soon.
Cool. Cheers.
Thanks, Mark. Have fun.